welcome to the latest episode of Over a Pint. I'm back after an extended break because I can finally drink again. So I'm excited to jump in. But first, I'm going to have our guest introduce himself this week. So we have Sepy from Realty Ninja. So why don't you introduce yourself to everyone who might not know who you are?
For sure. Hi. And first of all, thanks so much, Andrew, for having me. Been really looking forward to being on the show for a little while now. My name is Sepy Bazzazi. I am the director of marketing at Realty Ninja. For those of you who know Realty Ninja, know that we are a real estate website software company. And so we made a platform that makes beautiful real estate agent websites that can capture leads and, earn you SEO points and just make your brand look really, really good. It's a subscription model, so you don't end up paying a big chunk of money up front. You just pay on a monthly basis. And we've been around for about 10 years, and I've been with the company full time for about 5 years. And I've been with them, since their inception 10 years ago, doing some kind of marketing consulting. So I've been with Realty Ninja, in one way or another for about 10 years and have been touching the real estate marketing industry for about the same amount of time.
Awesome. So what are you drinking right now?
So I've got a Granville Island winter ale, which is something that you can only get during the winter time, and it is delicious. It's got like this chocolatey, beautiful flavor to it.
I'm going Mill
What about
Street
you?
Organic.
Nice.
It's been a while since I had it, and I used to love it. But because I haven't drank now in like 3 months, figured I'd go
There you
to
go.
an old classic
Very
instead of like
nice.
risking a random craft that might be terrible.
Have you ever cracked a beer on the show and just tasted it and been like, "Damn, this was a mistake"?
Oh yeah. Um, so we had one, but if you actually watch it, because again, like back to the day, I don't want to like embarrass anyone or company really.
Right.
I did it. If you actually watch the show, you'll notice there's like a hard cut at one point, and my
Okay.
cup goes from like here back up to here, and slightly darker. So the beer was coriander and sea salt.
Oh boy.
It was worse than it sounds, but not the worst beer. So one time for the show, we I was at like was at a conference and there was a local brewery, and I was like, yeah, I'll go. And I asked for a sample pack. I'm like, just give me two of like everything. And they didn't like tell me what they were getting. They just filled it up. And but we didn't film that many episodes. I ended up spending like $60 worth of beer.
Right.
So I was like, I had a couple at home. So one of the ones I tried was jalapeno and lime.
Whoa.
And I'm like, it's just weird enough of a combo that it could work.
Yeah.
But then you had it. It was like, what's the worst part of a jalapeno? The worst part of lime mixed together into a okay beer, and it was terrible. So that one also like it was a single sip, pour out the drain.
That's so
Uh,
funny.
but
I
otherwise,
that that reminds me of I can't remember what it was, but it was the hint of lime or something like that. It was like I don't know if it was a Molson lime or something, and I was like,
Bud
"Oh, this
Light
sounds
did it,
exciting."
I think.
Bud Light lime,
Yeah.
that's what it was. And I was like, "Ooh, lime, it sounds exciting." And it tasted like soap to me, and I don't know if it did to everyone, but
Yeah.
that was the worst beer I think I've tasted.
Well, if you ever see jalapeno and lime, I will upgrade your worst beer. It's quite bad.
I'm always down for trying something new at least once.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I don't recommend that one as a something new. That's good to save as they never had. But if you want to go for it, I mean, some people like a little pain in their life.
yeah.
So, what made you first get into the real estate industry?
Well, I think it was kind of like it just one of those things that falls into place, and then you reflect back in your life and you're like, "Oh, maybe that's why I'm here." And so growing up, we moved a lot. Before I was ever a professional or working, and through elementary school and stuff, my family moved a lot. My mom loved to buy and sell property.
Yeah.
And so I knew a lot of realtors growing up, and like I moved a lot, and there was a lot of just excitement around that. It was a bit annoying too. Moving kind of sucks, but um, it was just an eye-opening thing where most people, are, well, not maybe not most people, but some people are born into a home, they grow up in that home, and then they move out themselves or whatever. Whereas I had like 12 childhood homes, and so there was a lot of moving around. There was a lot of real estate agents and a lot of exposure to real estate, and my mom looking at the market and all this kind of stuff. And uh, my family was also like they're all entrepreneurs, and so I took the entrepreneurial route, took my marketing degree and learned, how to promote business and do business and create a business and all that kind of stuff. And then when I got into marketing, it just kind of happened that I ended up getting some real estate customers. And so when I first started, I actually started for Earl's restaurants. I was in their marketing. I was the assistant marketing manager at Earl's for like 4 years at their head office. And then I decided, I want to get a little side hustle going on. So I started bringing on a couple clients, and the people that I knew were real estate agents. And I had just a few real estate clients on the side that I did social media marketing for. And this was in like 2012 or so. Or no, sorry, this was in 2009 when I graduated to 2011 roughly. And that kind of led to one agent referring me to another agent, and then before I knew it, I had 5 customers who were real estate agents that I was doing social media marketing for, and also working at Earl's. And then my buddies at Realty Ninja, they brought me on to do marketing for them, and I was like, okay, this is kind of growing. My side hustle is becoming something that could be a real proper hustle, and so I made a decision to leave my corporate head office job and just kind of set up my own shop. And for like 6 years, I just worked with small businesses, and not just agents, but predominantly agents, and just help them with their marketing and help them with their online presence. And they were getting great results, and social media was kind of new back then. Things were a little bit different and people didn't know how to do it. And so I was really this like expert because I was just a computer nerd growing up, and I loved like Nexopia and like Facebook back in the day and all that. And so I think like just my connection to real estate in my youth kind of brought me in this direction. But then it got to the point where I was hired by Realty Ninja full time in 2015, and since then I've been able to make a bit more of a name for myself in kind of the real estate industry, because Realty Ninja has had thousands of customers over the years, and I've had so much exposure with agents and been able to see what works with them and what doesn't, and what they because one of the big things that I need to focus on is making sure they're successful. Otherwise, they're going to pack up and go on to a competitor. And so we need to make sure they're successful with their website marketing, and they know what to do with their social media and everything else that goes along with it. And so it was a natural progression. I mean, at any point I could have stayed in the restaurant industry, or I could have gone with one of my clients who was like a kettlebell instructor or a politician or whatever. But real estate seemed to be the right fit. And I've never been licensed, but I've actually considered it. I've considered, maybe putting myself, all the things that I preach, into my own practice and be a case study for myself and see what
It
happens.
works.
Mm,
Well, I kind of did the reverse, where I was an agent first,
yeah.
then moved to the other side.
How long were you an agent for?
Well, selling only 2 years.
Okay.
So I sold for 2 years, and I was with a Remax brokerage at the time, who then got bought by another Remax brokerage. And then they apparently got approached by the head office, so like Remax Integra, which owns like 30% of Remax worldwide, um, asking if they knew anyone who'd be a good trainer. And then I had been doing trainings in my office, just like teaching people how to do kind of the techie stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of did that in exchange for like extra mentorship, different things like that. And so but it was an interesting offer. It was basically like salary, travel North America, training agents, but then you're also like meeting with top producers. So in my head, I'm like, guaranteed salary, and it's like going to university because I'm gonna learn from all these top producers, travel, and then I'm also like, I'm gonna build the greatest referral network that ever
Yeah.
existed. Because every stage I went on, I'm like, I'm gonna mention where I'm from a bunch of times. So like I always had a benchmark. Like I had to mention the town Aurora 3 times on every stage. The idea being that when I went back to sales, everyone would be like, the Aurora guy. But then every time I did that, people were just like, can we just hire you to do it for us? And I was like, I actually like that business better.
Right.
So then eventually it came to this point where I was like, all right, we're doing that. Launched the company about 5 years ago in July. So we're coming up on 5.5 years.
Nice.
So it's pretty good.
That's awesome. And how has like COVID times been for your business? realtors been, because like I would imagine realtors need to promote themselves online a lot more. Is that what you've been seeing, or?
Well, March, when like the full lockdown first happened, whereas like basically the entire world, because there's so much uncertainty, and we
Yeah,
do month to month contracts, we don't make
right.
people lock in. We lost 40% of our clients in about a week.
Wow.
So it was a big hit early on, but luckily with like the wage subsidy, we actually didn't have to even let anyone go. Like I stopped paying myself for a few weeks just to make sure. But like we didn't even reduce hours for the team or anything. But
Nice.
then after, I'd say by the end of April, we were gaining more than we were losing again. And
Nice.
then by July, we were back to pre-COVID levels.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
so like it temporary hits, like we won't
Yeah.
hit the same goal, like our goal of last year. But this will be the first year that like every year we grew by at least 23%.
Wow.
So this will be the first year we don't do that. But I
Right.
mean, I think we're primed that next year we'll do that and then some. So
Yeah.
should be good.
And it doesn't sound like you know, it sounds like it was a bit of a blip, but not a major, you know, crisis where a lot of people had that this year. And so,
No,
uh,
we're pretty lucky now because we're as a team, we're all remote. Like there was no transition to remote for us. So it was just
right.
keep going. Like I've been working from my house for 5 years.
Yeah.
Like for me, there has been no like the biggest difference in my life is I'm just not traveling now. Like I used to be,
Right.
one to three times a month getting on a plane or something like that and going out
Hmm.
spending 4 to 10 nights in a hotel.
Yeah.
I haven't basically left my like 2 town radius more than twice since March. Like it's been pretty quiet around here. So got the kids at home with us and
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I mean, I don't know if you like the constant flying around or not, but it might be a nice break depending on how you look at it
I
to,
would like to get back to it.
yeah. Yeah.
I'd say the first 4 or 5 months, I was like, this is great.
Right.
Now it's also because like there's no vacation or anything either. Now I'm like, I'm actually
Totally.
excited for like my first conference to come back.
Yeah.
But I mean, at this point, it's probably next fall, realistically. So,
Yeah. I
I
mean,
know Remax is doing one this March, which is early for an in-person one, but
yeah.
um,
This, yeah, I think herd immunity is set for Q3
yeah.
2021. And so fall
I know
sounds
there's
about
like
right.
Inman is doing Vegas in end of October.
Right.
So I bet like that's around when you'll start seeing conferences come back.
Right.
I do my own conference every summer usually. This we're just gonna do a wait and see, and if
Right.
it looks like it's realistic, we could pull it off. Then we might just go for it.
Yeah.
Because my conference, the way I do, like I could get it up and running in 30 days.
Cool.
So if we see there's like a path to do it in like July or August that is like safe and good, and there'd be people willing to come, we might just like because like the way that we do our conference, it's not for profit. Like we do 100% of proceeds go to charity. You just get speakers who are willing to speak for free, or like I'll speak at whatever you have going on for free if you speak at mine for free type of thing. But we
Right.
basically
Right.
just everyone helps each other out, and
Cool.
tickets are like 50, $100 type of thing.
Nice.
So it's like a fun conference, but it's all goes to charity. So we've raised like 12, 13, 14,000 bucks, I think, over the few
Oh,
years
that's awesome.
we've done it. So it's pretty
That's
good.
great. Very cool.
But this year, I don't know if we'll do it.
I was on the I did a presentation on the Richard Robbins like Masters Academy
Yep.
this year, and this was the first year that it went virtual. And so I wonder, like, have you been doing virtual conferences or yeah, okay. So there is that still happening. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I would say March, April, May, I was doing 2 or 3 a day for a while.
Wow.
Like it was to the point where like I was getting headaches because I was just on Zoom too much and talking too much.
Wild.
Um, then I like purposely slowed down. Like we were gonna launch a workshop series. Like I even launched one and I ended up doing one and it was just like 25 people on and we'll on Zoom cap it at 25 people and work on something specific. So like one was like we'll set up all your custom audiences on Facebook together.
Right.
Um, did one and went well, sold out, and I was gonna launch a whole series. I'm like everyone I talked to was just tired of Zoom. And I was
Yeah.
like, so I ended up pulling back from that and saying, no, we're not doing that. So
Right.
I'll bring that back next year.
Right.
But we just were like, everyone's too zoomed out for now. And then August, I noticed they started picking up again. But then like by September, we were back to not the 2 or 3 a day anymore. But we were back to probably doing like one a day for a
That's
while. And
awesome.
then
That's
now
neat.
I've kind of got into a good rhythm of like 3 a week. So I try to
Right.
avoid Mondays and Fridays as much as possible, and then just do like
Nice.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday webinars and stuff like that.
Right on.
Yeah.
And so what is the because I like I said, I am actually I said this before the podcast actually started. So like being the director of marketing at Realty Ninja is a one man show.
Yeah.
So I manage everything from like our affiliate relationships to dealing with our ad company, our blog content, our social media channels, sales calls, like everything kind of that relates to marketing and growth kind of falls in my docket. And so I would like to get out and do more of these conferences or like live presentations and stuff, but it's just not something that I can kind of focus my attention on. It would be nice if I could just like focus 100% on that. And for me, it's just been like reaching out every so often, or people who know me, like Sue Robbins reached out and asked me if I wanted to speak, but it doesn't happen as frequently as it happens for you. And I'm wondering, how did you go about, like, I'm guessing 5 years ago, you didn't do as many. And so
So I
what
had
is the path
unfair
to that?
advantage. So my unfair advantage here is that Remax paraded me around when I worked for them.
Right, right,
Guy who knows what he's talking about. And so they were putting me on stage. So at the
right,
beginning, most all I had to do was say, you can hire me to do it now. So
right,
at the beginning, it was just, hey, I'm around. Then it, like the big one that you find is you just got to get into like one or two places and be the easiest speaker to work with. And the other speakers and those associations refer you a lot. So like
right.
I got lucky. So I started in July. That September, the Ontario Real Estate Association did a 6 city tour called Emerge. And 3 days before their first event, a speaker pulled out of all 6 cities.
Wow.
So they asked everyone there, like, who do you know? And it just happened I had lunch with a guy for the first time, like a week before. He goes, well, it's actually just, I met this Andrew guy. You should talk to him. I think he speaks. So they called me like, hey, our first one is just like a Friday evening. They're like, we have an event Tuesday in Ottawa. And then we want you at all of them. Can you do that? I was like, yes. So then I had to lock myself away, build a presentation over the weekend, then get to Ottawa. And then I'm doing the full 6 cities. But then from there, like you get referrals. But like
For sure.
a lot of the referrals for speaking comes from other speakers.
Right.
So because like what always happens, and the more you speak, the more you realize it, is organizers will come to me and be like, hey, like you spoke last year, we want someone new this year. Who do you know that would be good?
Okay, right.
So like that happens a lot. Or it's like, hey, you're speaking at our event. Who else do you know that would be complimentary to you?
Right.
Because they also don't want like people up there with necessarily conflicting messages, different things
Sure.
like that. So, and then a lot of it's just like, also, are you an easy person to work with? Because like the
Hmm.
whole like, there's a lot of speakers who are a bit of divas out there. That's not a real estate specific thing. That's just speaking
Generally,
in
yeah.
general. So if you're like easy to work with, like one tip I would say, like right now, the first thing you should do is create like a Google Drive folder of like your headshots, logos, your bio, but like have a short, medium, and long form of your bio.
Right.
And that way, whenever anyone asks you for it, you can just send them that link right away. Because
Right.
like running an event, one of the big pains in the butts is chasing the speakers for all their information so you can do promo with it.
Right. Right.
And then like little things like when you show up to the event, like especially if you have to fly somewhere, text them when you get into town that you made it in town okay.
Right.
Like I always make sure I fly in the day before.
Just good communication.
Yeah, and then just like, hey, I made it to town. See you tomorrow.
Right. Right.
And that way they know that you're there. There's nothing to worry about on their front that
Yeah.
like planes got delayed.
Right.
And then like I've learned other little tricks. Like at the end of that, like if I'm flying out that day, I always book the last flight out, no matter what.
Right.
And then I go to the airport and try and catch an earlier one if I can. But because you never know, I don't like rushing out of a conference to try to make a flight.
For sure.
Sometimes it happens just because like like when I went to Charlottetown and PI, there was like one flight I could take out. I didn't really have much choice, but everyone else at the conference was on the same flight, so we all rushed together.
Right. Fair enough.
But yeah, for the most part, it's just like being really easy to work with, being flexible. You also got to practice when things screw up, because like that's what it travels a lot. Is like I did like an example of presentation, and for the first 20 minutes, they couldn't get my slides on the screen,
Right.
so I had to do the first 20 minutes with no slides.
Without it. Yeah.
And then like I had another one that was like a live demo of the Facebook Ads Manager. but the internet went out. So I had to do a live walkthrough with no screen. So it's like, what you find though is like those presentations can actually go really well,
Yeah.
but you have to like be prepared for
Be
that.
ready. Yeah.
And the speakers who like still do a good job is what gets you invited back and gets people talking about you more too.
Right.
And then just every time after you speak, just go to the organizer and be like, can you either give me a testimonial or a referral to someone else?
Right. Right.
And it's just the kind of that constant
Yeah.
up and down. Eventually, the more active you are doing that, like now for the most part, most of my speaking gigs just they reach out to me.
They just come to you. Yeah.
Yeah, like there's a few bigger ones you have to apply for, like National Association of Realtors, like a few like bigger ones like that. You do specifically have to apply.
Yeah.
But for the most part now, it's people just ask. But like I would just basically for you start calling up brokerages and just be like, hey, can I do a free presentation on X?
For sure.
Almost all of them will say yes.
Yeah. They all have their Monday meetings or whatever. And
yeah, I find it's better to do it outside of those meetings.
Oh, really?
Because then like it often screws up your timing. So like some is okay, like some are very good at keeping it on schedule, but on average, like it ends up eating into your time, or like people after that meeting leave. But if it's specifically about you, then like the people who come stay instead of like there's 50 people on and then 20 leave when you get started.
Yeah, most of them just don't care because they didn't even want to be there. Yeah, for sure. That makes sense.
And eventually you kind of start figuring out which ones to charge for, how much to charge, if you charge at all.
Yeah.
Like, but that's all kind of you figure it out as you go and what makes sense.
For us, our marketing strategy in general has always been like give something away to get people's attention. And so when it comes to that kind of thing, I'd be open to just showing up and giving a presentation on, SEO or websites or what have you, whatever people need to hear about. And as it relates to real estate marketing for free, just to get out there and talk, as an expert from Realty Ninja and spread the word. And so, even in the world of like digital marketing and how content is huge and all that is huge, that personal touch and that people looking in your eyes and stuff, and just seeing the human behind the software company, I think that goes a super long way. So it's something that I aspire to for sure.
Yeah, it's one of the things, the more you do it, the more traction you get, and it goes up. And it's like it's my number one source of business is speaking. Like if we go back and look at all of our clients, like you might say like, hey, this one came to this conference, but then if you actually look at the history, they've been to 3 events, they've seen, they're in our Facebook group, and it's that. But it all generally comes back to I spoke somewhere. Right. So we just, as much speaking as possible, we often do. Like we get now a ton of people who are like, I've been following you for 5 years, and now we're signing on. But it's all like started speaking, more and more of that. So for me, like, the more speaking gigs I can get, the better, because that's what's going to lead to the most business.
Yeah, no doubt.
Part of the fun. And like you guys have an easier setup of like, we have that like higher end, like, you're investing minimum $1,500 a month to work with us. Right. If you have a lower ticket, like anything under like 200 a month, it's so much easier to get clients like on the spot.
Yeah. And for you, is yours like an ongoing? It's like $1,500 a month ongoing, right?
Yeah, so like our main, most popular package is Facebook and ad management, Facebook and Instagram ad management. It's $1,000 a month plus ad spend. Right. And most people spend between $500 and $750 on ads. So you're investing that $1,500, and then it goes up from there. Like I think our biggest right now is like $6K a month, roughly. Right. Yeah. But like that's like we're replacing the need to like have a marketing team in house basically for one like that. But it goes up and down depending on what people are looking for. But yeah, it's good.
I think like it's a bit different. I mean, our price point is obviously much lower. It's like a subscription website, so it's $79 a month. You can go annual, which is $828 a year. But it's also like what we've found over the years is like your website is like this big core component, and people don't just jump websites. Every month or every 5 months. When they get a website, they usually stick with it for at least a year, if not 2 years, or maybe more. Real estate agents tend to switch website providers more frequently than a lot of other people, but
even that's because they don't know the implications often.
Yeah, exactly. They don't. Yeah.
Well, very few what I find actually understand like you can hurt yourself if you're switching too much, and the people
Totally.
don't know what they're doing. Um,
Totally.
like how
And
many?
that's one of the things we try and educate is so, selfishly so people stay, but also selflessly because you're actually shooting yourself in the foot if you jump around constantly. So,
Well, that's one that we've known, and that's why, like for example, when COVID hit and the lockdowns happened, we lost 40%. Is because it's an easy one just
yeah.
to pause. So
Yeah.
even though like when we say we lost, a lot of them came back, but it was
Right.
like we're pausing during the uncertainty. So
Yes.
that's where we lost it. But that's because like ours, there's no like proprietary software that's like you lose if you pause.
That's right.
That being said, we are working on like a CRM thing that'll hopefully in January will like make out. That's kind of like a just sell home CRM for our clients. It's not one
Oh,
that's gonna be
cool.
like available for anyone unless we're running their stuff. It's more
Right.
just a white labeled piece of tech that for us is more from that idea of, hey, like you got to follow these leads. This will help you do it.
Right.
And it's like a very easy
And
piece.
so it'll feed from the ads that you guys set up into this CRM, or would it feed from their website? Like, could their website connect to it too,
Yeah.
or no? It's just, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, the idea behind it'll be like mainly it's for like the leads that we generate for clients that
Yeah.
want. It's not all our clients want more leads,
Sure.
but it'll be able to like through it. Basically, the company that we're white labeling will even white label a Zapier integration for us. So we'll
Cool.
get a Zapier integration, an app on their
Sweet.
phones, and then this like you log in on our website, like it's a full white label thing, and then it'll like do like the texting the leads through Twilio, phoning them, all that fun stuff. But basically any lead source should, and then like we can even give them like say like one of your clients the form that could go on their site,
Oh,
and
cool.
or you just send it through like Zapier or something if you have that set up.
Right on.
That's like it's for us. It's just gonna be like a little piece because like we found a lot of our clients, especially ones that come in without a CRM.
Yeah.
If someone comes without a CRM, we generally know they're not going to be able to last that long because they're just not going to have success. So we have to have at
Yes.
least something to offer them that will help them manage it.
Right. And so would it become a mandatory thing where it's like you got to work with, if you're going to work with us, you need to use the CRM because
No,
that's how you be successful? No. Okay.
no, like at the end of the day, like, we'll work with whatever you have. But like
Yeah.
for example, like top producer sucks to integrate with. I mean, sorry if you work at top producer and you're watching this, but suck. But like follow boss is fantastic.
Yeah.
Right?
We recommend Follow Up Boss. Yeah.
And that's normally like what we recommend most of the time. But every now and then we get clients who are like, I don't really want to like get that just for following up with leads.
Yeah.
I've been on Exact for 30 years, but
Right.
Exact's not great for working online leads. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a good CRM for like relationship stuff, but for online leads, it's garbage. I mean that in a nice way.
Yeah.
Um, but
Relatively
yeah,
speaking.
compared to like what you want follow bus for. Whereas this one, like
Yes.
one of the features that I like about this one we're white labeling is it has a forced call feature. So when a lead's generated, it'll call your phone and say, a new lead's generated, would you like me to connect you? And
Oh,
you
sweet.
like say yes,
Right
it'll
away.
auto connect you
Cool.
to that lead that came in.
Nice.
So we want to like, and then it can also do voicemail drop. So like they'll just, and like the client or prospect will end up with a voicemail on their phone from you that's automated.
Oh, that's sweet.
So it's just one of those things where we're basically trying to make it as easy as possible for people to convert leads.
Yeah.
Because that's our biggest source of turnover is just agents that don't convert the leads they're getting.
Yeah.
We can kind of shorten that and make it easier for them to convert. It's worth it. And it's not crazy to build out all the white label stuff. So
No, and like it's a system. You need a system. You can't just have one piece of the system. It needs to be there needs to be foundations and
yeah,
other
that's why we're
elements
not
of
going to
it.
sell the CRM as a standalone.
Yeah.
There will be no option to like use our CRM,
CRM.
but
Yeah.
not hire us to do the rest because
Right.
I don't even want to be in that business.
No, for sure. That's a different business. That's a whole
Yeah,
different business.
then
Yeah.
I'm closer to you guys.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And I no desire to be a software company.
And for us it's very much the same thing. It's just like in reverse.
Yeah,
One of our competitors, I'm sure Avenue HQ, they provide websites. They
yeah,
also provide like Facebook ads, but it's like very much, from what I've seen, it's very much like cookie cutter Facebook ads and stuff like that. And they charge whatever, $500 a month or whatever it is for that. And what we see is their customers leaving, coming to Realty Ninja, saving $400 a month, and being able to reinvest that money into their ads in a non-cookie cutter way. And so what we have always avoided is going that route where we're like, we also are going to do ads, but we're going to like, we can't scale that ads because we don't want to be an ad agency. We don't want to be, what you're doing on a, per client basis for these people. That takes away from our core business. Very much the same as how becoming a CRM software company would take away from your core business. So I fully understand, that thought process.
I even like, especially the first couple of years, I was always that shiny up, like, oh, I have a great idea, let's try that. And at
Yeah.
one point we were offering so many different products, and like, it's too much. We're simplifying, kind of packaging everything up, and we're making it a lot simpler and process based. So that's where like we've really, once I made that switch, growth really took off. Was like,
Yeah.
here's your options, pick. Like, yeah, there's a lot of customization once you like, the one thing that we're different, like, it's not templated ads for anyone. It's
right.
We come up with a custom approach for everyone.
Cool.
But it's like the process to come up with that, it's the same process.
It's the same process.
You know how to do it, but we're customizing it to the person.
Yeah, for sure.
Building that out.
Standard operating procedures. You need those, but yeah, it's good to, it's good to hear that, because a lot of people will do that cookie cutter approach, and it's never really been my thing. I'm sure it works to some degree, gets you a couple leads, but if you're working with an agent who's in North Vancouver, BC, and an agent who's in, Muskoka, the same kind of verbiage and the same imagery and all, that's not going to work. So you really need to kind of cater it. So that's good.
Where are most of your clients? Are you guys, because I know you guys are West Coast of Canada, but like, are you mostly all West Coast agents, or are you all over?
We started in Vancouver. Our biggest customer base is in Vancouver. I believe our second biggest is Victoria, and then it gets, it goes like the next biggest I think is Edmonton, and then Calgary, and it kind of goes in order of when we release the boards. When we integrated with every board across Canada. So we started with just integration in Vancouver, like the three boards in Vancouver, and then I think shortly after we launched, we went to Victoria Real Estate Board, and then Edmonton, Calgary, and we're in Toronto too. But the East Coast, we have a smaller foothold than in the West Coast for sure. And then we, recently, well, not recently, I think it was probably about 5 years ago now, we integrated with DDF, which kind of opened us up Canada wide. So if you're an agent with a DDF listings, then you can have a website with us no matter what market you're in, essentially.
Yeah, I tried building a DDF feed one time. It did not go
well. Well, the thing with their feed is like the quality is not very good, and people who, I guess people get to add their own areas or property types or something like that. And it just mixes everything up. And like, there might be 4 areas when you're actually searching for one area, and they're just spelt incorrectly. And it's a bit of a gong show, but they've ended up kind of cleaning it up a lot over time, but it's still not the best quality data by any means. So if you have, if you can be on Treb, be on Treb.
Yeah, before I tried building myself, that's always what I told people, is like, if you can work with the Treb one, you take that over.
Totally, yeah.
But part of the fun. Yeah, because I noticed like when I speak to agents out west, your name comes up a lot more.
Right.
But like out in the GTA, especially, not a time like Richard Robbins' group, kind of obviously they know you guys a bit.
Yeah.
It's a lot, not nearly as like much as out in Vancouver when we hear about you.
No, and another thing is like when we release major features, we start in Vancouver, and not all features, like most of our features get launched countrywide. But for instance, we recently launched VOW and sold listing search, and specifically the sold listing search component, where you can look at listings that sold in the last 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, the last year, and look at their sold price and all that, and basically just browse sold listings. We don't have that in Toronto yet.
Yeah.
And so that's something that'll be coming in 2021, which we just launched summer 2020. And so that kind of rollout, like we don't even have that in Calgary yet. So we're going to be rolling that out. When we built the framework, it's much easier to, import the Calgary board, the Edmonton board, the Toronto board into it and roll it out much more quickly. But it took us like 2 years to build all that and test all that functionality out. So That's another thing. A lot of people I talk to in Toronto on sales calls, they're like, "Oh, that's something we absolutely need." And I'm like, "I totally hear you. I'll add you to the list and I'll reach out when it's done," because they love everything else about us, but there might be, a feature missing that they need or something. So the growth is happening in Ontario, and further even in New Brunswick, and Nova Scotia and stuff like that. So like the East is learning about Realty Ninja, but we definitely have the strongest presence
Yeah.
out here in the West. And we just released a new product, which is like an information product. And so I feel like that is going to be something that we can promote, countrywide, and that could actually, it stands to probably do better in certain markets than others. And it's not because we started it in Vancouver. So that's kind of exciting, is rolling out after 10 years and being a business, just launching a new product and seeing how that goes. And probably it's going to have more sales in Vancouver because more people know us, or in the West Coast, but it's something we're promoting in the US too. And uh, it's not limited to any boards. And so that's kind of a neat new project of ours. And we're getting to learn a little bit from marketing it, because it's a one-time purchase, not a subscription. So it's a bit of a bit of new grounds for us.
So is it like a course or what is it?
It's it's opening the doors to a course. And so this is kind of part one, and the course is part two.
Yeah.
So it's like a content bundle. The main component of it is a ebook, and it's also got like an audiobook recording of the ebook. And so that is like a real estate marketing ebook. It touches on kind of everything, from 100-foot view of like what you need to do. And it looks at like the foundations, like your real estate website, your email, your CRM, and then it talks about all the additional marketing channels, social media, PPC, all that included. um, and talks about your brand, your target audience, and like really just touches on everything. And it's something that real estate agents are kind of, a lot of real estate agents didn't go to business school, they didn't go to sales school, right? And so they come out and they're like, okay, how do I sell, how do I do business? For some people it's second nature, for others they're like trying, struggling at times. And so we want to help them be successful. And so this product is very much to that end. And it's not just the ebook, it also has like over 50 Canva design templates for agents. It's got customizable marketing templates, like a 16-page brand guidelines document that you can fill out and print out and give to your team. And tons of vouchers, and like 6 video interviews with experts. Like I talked to Simon Bray from REW, president of REW. I talked to video influencers. I talked to copywriters, and lots of kind of video footage. So it's like this whole kind of bundle. And it's $99, and I've got a coupon code for you guys. Actually, I don't know if you want me to drop that now or drop it off at the
I'll
end.
include it in the link too when
In the
we
notes, yeah.
launch it.
So if anybody wants it, you guys get 20% off. But yeah, it's a whole content bundle, and then maybe in 2021 we will get to work on the course. And so that is another direction we want to take, which is in line with kind of realtor success, realtor marketing, and just supplementary to the website. So if you don't want a website, that's okay. Check out some of this other stuff.
And if someone has a website with you, is this in addition, or do they get it if they have a website with you?
No, they don't get it. It's an addition. It's an additional, because it's a one-time cost. And so if they have a website with us, great. But this is just an additional product, so they don't just get it for free. We a version of it that we had was like, it was $200, and they would get $100 voucher that they could use on their Realty Ninja website. But it just started to get a bit complicated to like explain it and all that, so we just cut the price in half, took out that voucher, and just made it $100. And so
That works.
yeah.
When did that launch? Because that was like a couple months ago, was it?
Yeah, it launched actually November 1st, I think, is when it went live. Yeah, so it's pretty new and pretty exciting. And it's called Dojo, the blueprint for real estate marketing mastery. So
good feedback on it so far?
So far, really good. Yeah, and good sales, good feedback, and we're all pleasantly surprised. So like I said, new grounds for us releasing an info product like that. Typically what we've always done is like create free content. We just create free stuff, put it behind a gate where you give us your email address, and here you go, here's a free door like door hangers design, or here's a free listing sheet or whatever that our design team would design, and we would just give away. We even made like a 3-part ebook series and all kinds of other goodies like that. And we thought, let's take it to the premium level and
Yeah.
see the interest. So I don't know if you've ever done anything like content, like a
We had
content.
a Facebook ads course for a while.
Yeah.
So that one was $1,000. And can't remember, I think it was like 40, 50K we made off it. Like it was
Yeah.
fine.
Good.
But then quickly into it, I realized the issue was people just were having issues like implementing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we transitioned it to as a free upgrade to our membership community,
Okay.
which was $50 a month if you started with us, or $100 a month after that founding kind of launch.
Right.
But we actually just, I'm going to announce it in the group. By the time this airs, it'll have been announced. We're canceling that. Because so one of the issues which was interesting that I found is that I got way more emails and DMs with questions than people willing to post in the group, because their competitors were in it and they didn't want them to see it all the time. So what we're moving to is we're switching it to, it's not a Facebook group anymore with a course. It's just a weekly email with resources.
Cool.
So it's okay. So the pricing is going to go down to like $10 a month. Because we are already going to send this out to all of our clients. So like if you're a monthly client of ours, it's basically like, here's conversion tips, tactics to try, basically like premium level content.
Right.
Or you can subscribe for $10 a month to it. And we'll send that out every week to people. So, and then we'll just sell courses for like, but we're going to switch. Like my last course was like 10 hours long. This one we're going to switch to like 2-hour courses, a couple $100. And then anyone who's on like our $10 a month thing can get it for a little bit cheaper or something like that. But yeah, we're like, we do a little bit of that information, but similar to you, like most of my growth has always been give stuff for free.
Yeah.
People come from that. So we that's where like we're making the switch on the new newsletter. Is it's more going to be like resource focused. So like Canva templates every week they're going to get, and they'll be obviously like seasonally appropriate, but every week they'll get new Canva templates they can launch in their business.
Right.
We'll give them templates for ads. We'll give them different things like that, but we have a bunch of different resources. So by the time this airs, this will be out there. So if you're watching, you probably already know about it. Nice. But yeah, we're hopefully launching that first week or two of January.
And so, okay, so here's the thing I want to ask you, because we had this discussion internally before we released the info product.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if I should be talking about this or not, but I'm going to, just for full transparency. So, it's a content package, what we're selling, and what you're talking about is emails, right? And so we were like, one of the things we came across was, well, what if someone just forwards this content package to everybody in their office, and it's like giving it out for free. But then our personal argument to that, and I want to hear what you have to say too, is like, well, if they're spreading it around, that's great. They're getting to hear about Realty Ninja and see that, we're helping agents, and maybe that'll attract them to our websites, which is impossible to be free, and so that's fine. And another thing is, they don't want to inform their competition about this stuff. They paid for it. They want to keep the information private. So we thought it doesn't matter. That's okay. We don't need to worry about that problem. Do you have a similar thought? Or
I've networked with a lot of course people too, like do like 8 figures a year selling this type of thing. People who like track it say like it's 5% fraud type of thing. Like like you get more people who just buy it and then request a refund after they download it than you do like share it out. But even then, like my course, I put on the back end of my website, and we just set something that if 2 or more IP addresses logged in within 24 hours, it just locked them out, and they had to request access back to it again.
Smart.
So if you could do like home in the office, but then if a third IP address logs in, it just locks you out, and it just says contact the team. And we've never had like, I'm not that worried about it because it's similar at the end of the day. Yes, I'm happy to give out all that content, and like some of it, yes, I want to get paid because the amount of time it took to create it. But we also know it's going to drive more business to us, drive more speaking fees and stuff like that. So we accept that everything you do, there's going to be a certain percentage of fraud. So we took that like IP address route just to, minimize a little bit. But
Sure.
I mean, we
That's
also know
cool.
like a lot of teams buy it and like they're gonna pass it along their team. Like they work together, like they should all have it. Like
For
you
sure.
want them to
Yeah.
have it.
You want them
So
to
like
have it.
we did that with like the elite membership group. If you paid your $100 a month to be in it, it was $10 a month to add an admin, or like
Cool.
$10 a month to add a team member. Just because
Right.
like you want them learning that stuff, you want them asking questions, but to have like everyone on the team paying $100 a month was ridiculous.
Right.
So yeah, like situations like that, I'm not that worried about the fraud side.
Yeah.
I just put it out there, see what happens, and
See what happens.
go
Yeah.
for it. I
If
mean,
it
once
becomes a major issue, then yeah, but
yeah, and like worst case, if it starts getting to a point where like everyone's having it, then you just release it for free, and
yeah, totally.
yeah,
Oh well.
yeah, you just figure like we make it like so much stuff is just trying and seeing what happens. So
Yeah,
we're just constantly testing things, seeing what works, what doesn't work for us.
totally.
We
Yeah.
go from there, and if it works, great. If not, like I study a ton of what happens in like other industries to see like what people are doing. And that's the big one. Like that's one of the reasons we're switching to a newsletter, like a paid email newsletter than
Mm.
the Facebook group is we've noticed that like the ones who are having a lot of success these days, they're doing more success from their email list than they are from their Facebook groups.
Right.
Whereas like our free Facebook group does really well. But our paid one, a lot of people are still like, I get so many DMs and emails, but like you might get 2 posts a month.
Right.
Then I'll get 3 emails a day from those people.
Right. They want to keep it private. They don't want to have a community of sharing all that. I mean, I guess it depends what the content is, but in this case, when it's like tips and tricks and resources to
So
market themselves, yeah.
they're going to be emailing me anyways. I might as well just make it
Yeah.
an email product. So that's where we're making that switch for us.
Well, the last time I talked to you, we were on a call with Ramen and a few other people too, and after that call ended or before it started, we just kind of quickly chit chatted. And I can't remember what it was now, but you mentioned like another cool list or custom audience tactic. And so like, is there anything you're willing to share with me and also with whomever is listening as to like what are some cool, because like we just started working with a PPC company here,
Yeah.
and we're feeding them all of our lists, and they're open to us providing suggestions and asking questions and tweaking our campaigns as we go. As someone who's an expert in this, what are some neat tricks? Like
So
this unsubscribe one is cool, more like that.
think about like drip campaigns. A lot of people look at email, except if you know how to use Facebook ads, you can also drip Facebook ads to people. So
Right.
all I'll do is like you come on my website and opt in, or you just come on my website and check something out. It'll be like day 1 to 3, see this ad. Day 4 to 5, see this ad. 6 to 8, see this ad. But then 7 to 10, you see this one. Then 11 to 13, you're going to see a pitch, and it's
Right.
timed based on when you've been on our site. So we do a lot of that. Then like obviously the obvious stuff, like if you go to this page but not this one, see this ad.
Yeah, of course.
Big one for realtors and then for us too is a really aggressive retargeting campaign, but for like a 3 to 5 day window. So we'll do like you opt into something, and for like the next 3 days, we're gonna hammer you with ads to hire us, just to try and find those fast movers who are like
Right.
they're just ready to go. But then as soon as those 3 days are up, you don't see it anymore.
Right.
But for those 3 days, it's basically all you see. Like you're like, if you don't know what you know the Facebook backend, but the frequency number,
Yeah.
it tells you like our frequency on those campaigns will be 14 to 18,
Right.
which
Okay.
is ridiculous.
Right. Yeah.
We'll just basically hammer someone for 72 hours, and we'll even frame it as like day 1 and 2 you see this, and then day 3 is like this is the last day we're going to show you this ad. So if you do want to hire us, it's today.
So the ad copy says that, or like the.
But we'll go full out. Like sometimes we'll even frame it as like a 72-hour special.
Right.
But some days I just come right in and say, I'm aggressively retargeting you for 3 days right now to see if you want to hire us. This is the 3rd day. Now, because cool. I'm known for Facebook ads, it like builds my credibility more.
Right.
Right. So like I do this from stage. So when I'm speaking at conferences, I will either set it up before if my team's available. When I get on stage, I'll take a selfie and flip it from the stage to my team, and they'll have an ad running to the conference center before I got off stage.
Oh, cool.
So that way, then it's like that's the guy on stage right
I
now.
just saw.
There's an ad of him on stage.
Crazy.
And those
Cool.
frame is like, depending on the event, like it doesn't always work, but like I did one where I was like, it was a popular lobby bar at the conference, and I was like, come
Yeah.
find me at the lobby bar and say this, and I'll buy your next beer.
Right.
I just made them say something I knew none of them would say, but they come up and like joke to me about seeing the ad and then hang out and starts conversations. But it builds credibility as the online
Very
expert.
cool. Yeah, yeah.
Seeing that, so we look at like, and those are cheap. Like the AREA event, which had 8,000 agents at it, I ran ads to it the whole week. I got a ton of people talking about it. Started a ton of conversations with agents. Cost me $27.
Nice.
Like I could have sponsored the event for 20 grand.
Totally.
$27 and got arguably just as big of an impact.
I love that. I love finding that way to kind of hack a little bit, and yeah, that's very, very cool. Very smart. I like that one.
Yeah, the other one that I've done something like that. If I ever find out like where an agent lives, I've
Yeah.
targeted their house with ads. The other one that I like is if I know an agent, somebody who Googles themselves, is I bid against their name and tell them they need marketing help.
Oh my God, with the ad
Yeah,
says
so when
that.
they Google their own name, the top result is like, don't
Hey,
you wish
John.
you've been ranked first for your own name?
Oh, that's amazing.
But that like you have to be sure it's the type of person who will Google themselves. Because we found
Yeah.
only about, I'd say about 25 to 30% of agents even Google themselves quarterly.
That do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then there's some who like, there's like 5% who will like almost daily Google their own name.
Right.
And like, if I think it's one of those, I will bid against their name because it'll cost me like 5 cents.
You can over time figure out who those people are just by having a few chats with them, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There is a pretty clear like who it is. I mean, there's two types. There's one, the ego type, and then there's people who are just very conscious of how they show up online.
Yeah, totally.
Right? Like they're just they want to make sure there's nothing bad out there. They want to make sure like, do I need to adjust any of my SEO? So it's not always like an ego thing. Like there is definitely some group of them who are ego. So, but we look for those two, is those people who are just like really brand and image conscious. They Google themselves a lot.
Yeah.
And they Google their team name, they Google their team members, and then some people just for an ego like to type in their own name and see what comes up.
That's funny.
But yeah, and there's no one bid, like almost no one bids against that. So if you just put an ad being like, you know, your website would look way better if it was from Realty Ninja.
Yeah.
But like put their name.
That's for an individual agent's domain, right? Yeah. So small budget kind of ad. Yeah, that's cool.
Like I've even done like, if it was you, I'd just be like, hey Sepy, you need help with marketing.
Yeah.
You can do that. And
very custom. That's cool. I like that.
Cheap. Like there's no, like even if they never like actually search their own name, then it never costs you anything.
That's true. Yeah, totally.
That's the difference with like Facebook. Facebook, again, like if you know how to do it, you can target a single building. Right. So like when so I'm the preferred supplier of digital marketing for Royal LePage Canada. Mm-hmm. So if Phil Soper's watching this, he came on my show, which is what led to it. Before I asked him to be on my show, I targeted his office with episodes of this show with Royal LePage agents because I wanted to make sure he saw it.
Oh, cool.
So that when I asked him to come on, he's like, oh yeah, I saw like Chuck was on your show and a couple other people. I was like, oh, what a funny coincidence.
Very cool. That's so cool, man. Use those ads like tactically. I like that.
Because it's cheap. Like there's even one where Remax had a team leader conference where it was like for 3 days, you had to do at least 100 deals a year or something like that. All team leaders were in one building for 3 days learning. Well, I knew where the building was.
So is that just like the pin, like the map?
You got to drop the pin, but then you have to drop exclusion pins around it.
Right.
More narrow.
Right.
So that's how we set it up. So we do the initial pin drop and then the 4 pin drops around the outside that are excluded, and you can get it down to that 1 radius.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So that's how we do like conferences we speak at. I will always do that at a conference I'm speaking at. And especially if I have a booth, I will run an ad with a photo of me at the booth being like, here's where to come. And if you say this, I'll be like, I'll give you X for free.
Totally.
You have to bring up this ad.
Right.
And cool. It just incentivizes people to come out, and people find it cool. So it works, and it's so cheap. Like the amount that I think the most we ever had to spend at a conference doing that was $60.
Well, like, and considering, buying a booth at those conferences is 700, 1,500, like whatever, 3 grand. But you can buy ads that target every single person on their own device for $100 or less. That's something special. I'm going to do that. I'm going to find the addresses of all these places and advertise Realty Ninja there.
It works even better if you're at the conference. Like,
of course.
We have definitely tested it of doing it when we're not there. And it's a noticeable drop in responses and likes.
I bet.
Like the biggest one we found is actually not responses direct to the ad. It's people coming up and telling us they saw it.
Right.
Starting the conversation.
It's a convo starter. Yeah.
But it's not like they call us and be like, hey, we just saw your ad. That's funny. It's Andrew?
Yeah.
Just saw your ad.
Yeah, cool.
And then they come. So like that's where for us it's been huge, is using it. So generally, with the odd exception, like that Remax team leader one. Now with even the Remax team leader one, I knew the speaker. And I know his content, and I know what he talks about. So I actually tailored the ad based knowing on what he would be saying to them.
Right.
And then I like added at the end, by the way, tell Keith I said hi.
Nice.
So like you can have a little bit of fun with that, but like knowing who they are, and that's where like me being niched down in real estate and similar to you, right? Like niching down, the industry often just as well as they do.
For sure.
And you can make those little pieces of fun. That's another thing I just miss about in-person stuff, is like I can't do that right now.
Yeah, I know.
Like, all that's gone, but agents are so easy to target on Facebook that there's other ways to do it.
Well, I'm going to take some of these tips to the bank here, because some cool stuff we've never even tried, and I don't need to give those to my PPC company. I'm familiar enough with Facebook's ad platform that I can tweak those and play with small budgets and see what I get. So that's
well, sweet. Small, like if you look at like the rough numbers, it's like $10 a day per 100,000 people in an audience. There's only about 110,000 agents in Canada. But you can probably throw out 30,000 right away from like people who don't try to sell, appraisers, stuff like that. So realistically, you're saying there's about 80,000 people trying to be a real estate agent.
Yeah.
So $8 to $10 a day, and you can consistently reach everyone in Canada.
For sure. With the right targeting, of course. But
you know how to do the targeting. And that part's actually super easy once you know how.
Right.
Like you just target real estate agent interest and page admins.
Right.
Like it's
totally. And for realtors, what's your like advice to them for targeting? Is it just geographical areas because that's the community? Like it's like bus shelter ads kind of thing, or
depends on the person, because like different strategies require different approaches.
Yeah.
Like we had one client for a long time who like only targeted pre-construction condo buyers as an investor.
Right.
So for someone like that, you have to do a lot of targeting.
Totally.
But like if you're for example, if you're in Calgary or like a city like where there's not like Toronto, it's different just because there's so many people and there's so much sprawl that for that far out, you have to do some targeting. But like if you're in a small town or a city like Calgary, even like a Vegas would be a great example where it's like the city and then nothing.
Yeah. Totally.
You just target the whole area. But like now with the special category ads for agents, they can't even do a lot of targeting for a lot of it. Like it's a 15-mile radius is the minimum. They can't even change the age from 18 and up. They can't exclude anyone.
Right.
That hasn't changed results that much for us, because like it's actually more important for the copy of the ad to like narrow down to your ideal person. So we use the copy to focus on who we want more than the actual targeting, because the more you restrict Facebook's targeting, the more you're restricting them being able to optimize your ad.
Right.
So even before the new rules, 90% of our ads were age, location, and exclude agents from seeing it. There's no point in wasting your money spending on other agents to see your ads.
Sure. Right.
But yeah, outside of that, we just normally let them go for the most part.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Cool. Very good. And you guys send their ads to their website?
Depends again on the campaign. So like we use Facebook lead, like if they want leads, Facebook lead ads quite a bit. But that's in large part because most websites are not set up to capture leads.
Yeah.
well. So when we're relying on their website to capture the lead, it's too inconsistent. But like a lead ad, I know like with a listing, every $1 to $3 we spend in ads, we're going to get name, email, and phone number.
Right.
But if I send them to your website, one website might get it at $3, one might be at 100.
Sure.
There's
If
no
they don't have a landing page set up, or if they're not, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So we just eliminate that. But then there's clients who don't care about leads, so we go other routes too.
Right.
But sometimes we go to their website. Sometimes it's like we'll build a landing page, do things like that. But we kind of case by case basis as we're building it.
Right on. Very cool. Right on. Well, my beer is finished. What do you usually do? Do you go get more beer? Or?
What time? Oh, no,
Almost
actually,
2.
so sometimes I do have more, but I actually have to jump off because I have to go take care of my kids shortly. And
Okay, right on.
But we can always do a part 2 another time.
For sure, yeah.
Hopefully in 2021, we'll actually like go to a conference or something. And,
yeah, definitely. Yeah, maybe late 2021, but I'm down for that.
I'm thinking, like September, I feel like is the earliest we'll see conferences.
Right. Well, if you guys host your conference in July, or if that ends up happening, let me know, and I'm more than happy to be a volunteer speaker and put together a presentation. No costs or anything associated, and we'll even donate some money to the charity you're giving to. So
yeah, we'll probably, like depending on timing, we'll probably do it. The only way we won't do it is if it like bleeds into November, because there's so many conferences probably already happening then.
Sure.
But yeah, we'll let you know and we'll figure out something.
Sounds great.
Sounds good. So we'll just do a quick outro and we'll go.
Sure.
All right. Thanks everyone for tuning into this edition. I don't know who the next guest is for the show because I have not planned the next episode yet. So you can just stay tuned. And by the time this airs, we'll have figured it out. So we might say it by then, but we just don't know who it is right now. But thank you for having me. If people want to get a hold of you, Sepy, how would they go about getting a hold of you?
They can just go to realtyninja.com and either email info@realtyninja.com, or if they want to just reach me directly to my personal inbox, they can email sepy@realtyninja.com. I am also the guy who manages all of Realty Ninja's social media. So if you DM me on Instagram, you're talking to me. Yeah. Tweet me, DM me on Twitter, you're talking to me, Facebook, YouTube, etc. So you can reach me through social or email. And don't forget to check out Dojo, our new info product. The promo code for you guys is over a pint, and it's 20% off.
And we'll put it here or here or here or here, depending on whichever platform you're watching this on. So see you guys in the next episode and hope you guys have a great week.